Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So everyone is talking about Gary Gensler and what he said during this congressional hearing, and it wasn't good. So let's break down what Gary said, why he's going to get fired, and let's talk about Bitcoin still holding strong, an entire crypto market cap looking good. So welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing good. You know what? Let's jump right into it. SEC Chair Gary Gensler takes his anti-crypto vendetta to Congress. I don't think Gary was prepared for the onslaught that he faced today. Okay, it was a long hearing, and I did not stay around for the whole thing. But there's a couple of moments that I want to highlight. And it shows you why everyone hates Gary Gensler and why all these crypto projects can't seem to catch a break. It's quite simply because Gary Gensler doesn't know. He's winging it, okay? He's absolutely winging it, and I think this is the clearest case of why he is winging it because, well, let me just play it. Let me play it for you guys. You guys could determine this yourself. In case you haven't seen this before, okay, this is pretty damn clear why Gary, he's winging it, has no clue what's going on.
The most popular digital assets and powers the Ethereum blockchain. Back in 2018, then SEC Corporation Finance Director Bill Hinman stated that he believed Ether was not a security. Last month, CFTC Chair Benham expressed his view that Ether is a commodity. The State Attorney General of New York asserted in a court filing last month that Ether is a security. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. Do you agree?
Actually, all securities are commodity under the Commodity and Exchange Act. It's that we are excluded commodities, but I would agree that a security cannot be also an excluded commodity and an included commodity. I'm sorry, Chair, just to talk about the Commodity Exchange Act more precisely.
Okay, so do you recognize, how would you categorize Ether then?
Look, I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Without speaking to any one.
I know you've repeatedly said you're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in the
asking about
the
one.
Public is anticipating a profit based on the.
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private. This should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals.
I'm asking you about the facts and the law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also.
But you have prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is anticipating.
All right, so let me just ask a second question then. Do you think it serves the market for an object to be viewed by the commodities regulator as a commodity and the securities regulator to be viewed as a security? Do you think that provides safety and soundness for the product? Do you think it provides consumer protection? Do you think it serves the value of innovation? I think no should be a very simple answer for you here.
I think
that uncertainty is bad, is it not?
And I think that Congress has said that there's one agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, under this committee.
And you won't answer my question, and you're the head of that agency. So give me a break. Come on.
I'm answering it in the generic because you would not want me to speak about any one set of facts and circumstance.
Okay, so, but you've already spoken. Have you said anything about Bitcoin?
My predecessors and the agency itself has spoken to them.
Okay, but you're not willing to do the same about Ether. Okay, so let me just step back. There's a lack of clarity here in the marketplace. Can you at least agree to that?
I think that the clarity is there. The law is clear.
All right.
There's a group
so let me be explicit about this. The market doesn't see it. Your regulatory actions and the CFTC's regulatory actions say that there's a great deal of uncertainty here. It is the intention of this committee to fix that uncertainty and actually provide.
Man, Gary would just not, he refuses to say yes or no. Even when asked, do you think there's lack of clarity? He's like, and then he just dances around. I think there is, but then why can't you answer if Ethereum is a security or a commodity? He keeps referring to all the tokens on top of Ethereum, but he won't answer whether Ethereum itself is a security or not. I have not seen that kind of dodging since my high school days. But still, it's crazy. It's crazy. See, this is why everyone hates Gary Gensler. Because all these projects, you know, when they approach Gary and the SEC, they're like, tell us, like, what are we doing wrong? What do we need to do to comply? And Gary will basically keep his mouth shut and then just gives a Wells notice whenever he feels like it, right? That's exactly the situation. And I'm glad to see some of these Congress people, right, recognize that, grilling him on it, right? Here's something else. All right, let's listen to this.
You said earlier in another line of questioning that the players in the digital asset space don't have a choice, that they have to comply with the rules. But once again, Congress has never given you a framework for regulating digital assets. Where are you pulling that one from?
With all respect, sir, we disagree on this.
Oh, I can see we disagree a lot, Chairman, because we're not giving you authority. You're just taking it. I think that's part of the issue right now.
With all respect, Congress painted with a broad brush when they set up the SEC. And I quote Thurgood Marshall, which is one of the greatest.
Congress painted with a broad brush in 1933 and 1934, not in 2023. We've not touched that. It's a new industry. One last quick question, because I'm concerned about your agency. You have some of the highest turnover amongst the agencies. Do you think you have the manpower to actually regulate digital assets, considering all the other rulemaking you're engaged in?
We actually have 6 to 7% turnover, which is consistent with the other federal financial
I would disagree. OPM would say otherwise, Chairman Gensler. Hey, real quick, last question. I think it might have came up. You were Hillary Clinton's CFO in the campaign, right?
It's part of my history.
Were you? Yes or no?
In 2016.
Did you facilitate the payment for the Steele dossier since you were CFO of the Hillary Clinton campaign?
Sir.
Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes or no?
That was not.
You're under oath, Chairman Gensler. Yes or no?
I know. It was not something I was aware of.
I yield back the rest of my time. Thank you.
Oh, Gary. he was not prepared to answer that last question. But again, do you realize he doesn't say yes or no to anything? He doesn't say yes or no. I mean, again, this kind of wishy-washy answers, you know, I'm glad to see Mr. Donalds here also recognizing that Congress has not given Gary Gensler any authority at all. He's just taking it. He's just applying his power because no one has stepped up and stopped him. But now we're starting to see people realize that this guy is a danger and driving innovations and companies away from the U.S. because it's the Wild West and he's doing whatever he wants, right? He can't even answer if Ethereum is a security, even though he argued in a library case that library is a security because it runs on top of Ethereum, and most Ethereum transactions are in the US. So that somehow makes library a security and gives authority to the SEC to deem and rule them as security. Think about that, right? Think about, like, okay, so just because Ethereum runs in the US, it gives the SEC authority to declare what's on top of it. not only a U.S. project, but also a security. I mean, there's so much uncertainty. It's crazy, okay? So here is Warren Davidson calling for Gary Gensler to be fired.
Gensler, your record of failures to protect investors and abuses of power make it clear that we need to restructure the Securities and Exchange Commission. The failures are many, but let me cite some of the abuses. You average more than 2 rules proposals a month. You provide inappropriately short comment periods. You have unworkable and unlawful ESG disclosure mandates on the market. You have essentially a Hotel California rule for crypto where you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. You have endless discovery with no resolution and no clarity for the captives in the market. You have unworkable proposals for overhauling equity market structure, a de facto ban on crypto through proposed custody rule. You have high staff turnover, unhappy people leaving your office, and unhappy companies and capital leaving our country. To correct a long series of abuses, I'm introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where all authority would reside. Former chairs of the SEC will be ineligible under my proposed bill. And this isn't just my take. It resonates across the political spectrum. The American people want democratic access to capital, retail investor participation. You can't just exclude retail investors from markets and claim it's for their own good. Our markets need to function and flourish, and I yield back.
There you go. There you go. Restructuring the SEC, okay? Bring back basically the policing of the SEC. Get rid of the chair role, executive director that has to comply with the board, okay? I don't know who the board is, but former SEC chairs are not eligible, right? That sounds pretty good. Sounds better than one person that just deems whatever he wants with no repercussions, right? And causing havoc to everyone. So, fire Gary Gensler. Hopefully it's soon. Hopefully it's soon. I mean, it's gotten so bad that you have Brian Armstrong now of Coinbase now saying that he is not opposed to moving Coinbase out of this country. That's how bad it is for all these crypto projects and exchanges that operate in the U.S. because they can't get any freaking answers. Coinbase has been warned. We might sue you, okay? But they don't say why. They don't say which coins or tokens or securities. They said the same thing to Kraken, saying they find Kraken, they find Coinbase, they find all these companies, they find Bittrex recently. Right? All of a sudden, they just tell them, okay, we deem these projects securities. So now you're breaking our rules, so you have to pay. But there's no heads up. There's nothing that these companies could do ahead of time, right? Other than live in the fear of the SEC. So Coinbase, hopefully this doesn't happen because Coinbase is the largest exchange in the U.S., right? One of the oldest exchanges in the U.S., one of the most well-known exchanges in the U.S., right? Again, you don't want Coinbase to be leaving the country. That is such a black eye, right? We don't want that to be happening. But Brian Armstrong said, you know what? I'm considering it. I'm considering it. That's how bad it is unless we get some clarity, right? Even today, he met with the UK Economic Secretary and City Minister. So maybe he's already making moves. I don't know. Hopefully Coinbase does not move out of the U.S. and go to UK, right? I know they already operate in UK, but still, we don't want to see U.S. lose one of the best exchanges available, and that's Coinbase, right? And hopefully others don't follow too, because it's getting harder and harder for any project in the U.S. that's crypto related to operate because of the scrutiny of the SEC and the lack of clarity of Gary Gensler. Gary's got to go. But you know what? The good thing is, despite Gary Gensler, despite the SEC, despite what's going on in the U.S., right? Bitcoin is non-sovereign, not just limited to the U.S. Bitcoin continues forward. 500% pump may be around the corner ahead of the next halving. Ahead of the next halving, okay? Not after the next halving. That would be crazy. That would be crazy, right? And there are a lot of facts that support this. We got a lot of good news about adoption worldwide. We got fractal patterns that compare to previous cycles. We have growing fundamentals that never seem to stop, right? And we still have the 4-year cycle. And if you look at the 4-year cycle currently versus previous cycles, we're moving according to plan, and previous cycles before have gone up 500% as well, and even more in some cycles, right? So history doesn't always repeat, but tends to rhyme. But on top of that, we have so much else going for Bitcoin right now. Right now. Like, I could show you chart after chart after chart after chart, right? Showing that we are recovering from bottom. We are about to head higher, and greater days are coming, right? So this 500%, just look at last time. Look at what happened in 2020, right? 500% upwards, right? Are we going to see something like that happen again? I do think so, right? And then this one, actually, this is a crazy one. This has like 8 out of 8 indicators, and there's a lot of them. 8 out of 8, not even 5 out of 8 or 6 out of 8, not 7 out of 8. 8 out of 8 indicators suggest market recovery. That's how strong the momentum is right now. There's not a single indicator out there that actually shows Bitcoin is going to drop back to 15 or 10 like some people are still hoping. There are still some bears or TA analysts that still say, well, the narrative have not changed. We're going back down and forming a new low. Okay, while every single indicator and average and fractal pattern and macro, I mean, everything is showing otherwise. You still have some doubters, some disbelievers, because they sat on the sidelines and they refuse to acknowledge that we are in recovery. We have started an next bull run, and much better days are coming. That's right. That's right. Here's another one showing the bull run, right? I said we started a bull run. I should correct myself and say we started the next bull cycle. Now, the bull run is when things get really, really crazy. That's usually after the halving cycle. So we got about a year before the halving cycle. But this new cycle started. We got out of the crypto winter, right? And that means we are starting a new cycle. So we are in a new bull cycle, not in the bull run phase, which is basically the last most bullish, exponentially rising phase. We're not quite there yet, but we will. We will. That's why so many people are stocking up. Again, I talk about fundamentals all the time. A lot of people don't understand what that is. Well, you look at the hash rate at all-time high, number of addresses all-time high, number of accumulation by retail investors, in this case shrimp, all-time high. And you can measure whales, you can measure sharks, right? You can measure whatever. They're all climbing to all-time highs. And this is despite the fact that Bitcoin is still at $30,000, not even close to our previous high. But the fundamentals have never been better for Bitcoin. Think about that. Never been better than now in the history of Bitcoin. Okay? That's how strong things are right now. Crazy. Crazy. And then, yeah, I talk about global adoption. What about state adoption? Now, it's a law in the state of Arkansas that you have the right to mine. Not only Arkansas, but also Texas, New Jersey is trying to do this. You got multiple states now that's making a law that Bitcoin miners will not be discriminated and can't be kicked out from the state. That's how good the fundamentals are, right? You got states that's now backing Bitcoin miners. You got countries that's making Bitcoin legal tender. And soon, when fiat collapses, I shouldn't say soon. It might take a while. But eventually, when fiat collapses, when the USD is no longer the reserve currency, guess who's next? Could be Bitcoin. Why not? What better currency than Bitcoin to become the world's currency? Think about that. All right. That's what I got to say today. Let's do some Q&A. We should all watch this clip again because this is just hilarious. I've never seen this kind of dodging since my dating days in high school. Danny boy, fire dirty Gary Gensler. This is the way. Why is he not stepping down? I don't know. I don't know why he's not stepping down. It's just nuts. It's nuts. Why are super chats off? They're not. Victor Styles, are you going to drop any more NFT strap on? Yes, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about it. I know a lot more people are asking for NFTs. You know, I really didn't know what I was doing when I created my first collection, and I might continue that or do something else, but I think I'm going to continue it. And I want to still build utility, so I'm still planning for this Miami trip during Bitcoin 2023 conference. And possibly inviting a lot of you guys to attend who are holders. Ed says, your thoughts. I have 50K, 84% in Bitcoin, 13 ETH, 3% in small large caps. Well, you certainly have loaded up in Bitcoin. Congratulations. ETH, not so bad. Small, 3% small large caps. I think that's fine for now. But as we get closer and closer to halving event and as alts get more bullish, right, you may want to think about upping that a little bit. It's our 2-year anniversary, according to Dustin. Thank you for answering all my questions. You're welcome. Is render and ICB the same concept? No, they're far, far from being the same. One is about renting GPUs. One is L1. Very different. What do you think about Kia EV6? It's actually not bad. Not bad for EV car, but the range kind of sucks. It's like 220 something miles per range, especially if you get like the performance one. I think the regular one's like 240 something. So I would like to see more EVs in the 300 mile range, which is very hard to find outside of Tesla right now. David, I'm not big on S coins, but I want to gamble a few $100. Okay, what would you suggest? Right? I mean, there's a lot of meme coins, especially right now. I'm seeing meme coins get pumped left and right. Those are just like lottery tickets, okay? If you buy it, it goes up, great. You better sell or it's going to dump back down. Maybe one becomes the next sheep. No one knows. Again, they're lottery tickets, right? But if you're going to be gambling, like smart gambling, and you want to get in some micro, low caps, right? You still got to do your research. Don't just like throw in stuff like on, you know, when you're playing roulette thinking one will hit, right? You still want to be smart about your money. There is one project I told you guys, very low cap, micro cap, that I am involved with, okay? And I think you guys could read in between the lines, but a lot of you guys haven't. But it's the project that has been supporting the show I was on, the next crypto gem, right? And that project is Hourglass. So I think they're going to do great things. I think season 2 is going to be much, much better. But in the meantime, they are building a lot of utility behind the scenes, have a great loyal community. Sometimes I'm chiming in their Telegram chat, right? But the show really, I think it opened up my mind. I'm really glad I met the other judges. And I think it's going to open up the mind of millions and millions of people around the world. So really looking forward to it debuting. Luxo mainnet launch. It's been a while for Luxo. Iming S. Thank you. Tommy, during the next bull run with so many cryptos down like 10x from all-time highs, do you believe the top 25 will head back to near all-time high? Yeah, I think so. I mean, some may drop out of top 25, right? Yeah, Tron could certainly drop out. I don't trust Tron one bit. Leo, I don't trust because they're from Bitfinex. Ethereum Classic, you know, they have no use case, but they may go up. Stellar also, not sure what their future plans are. Bitcoin Cash certainly should drop. I mean, there's a lot of these that will continue upwards, right? But the question is, how fast will they hit their previous highs? Some will move much faster than others. So you want to kind of, you know, get in or ride the fastest horses if you can. Who do you think is the second spy, Mandalorian? You know what? I have not been watching Mandalorian. I binge watched Picard season 3. Excellent, excellent show. If you're a Next Generation fan, you have to be a little bit older. But if you're a Next Generation fan or a Voyager fan, you gotta watch it. It's so good. Don't even watch season 1 and 2. There's no point to it. Just skip to season 3. It's so damn good. But I have not watched Mandalorian yet, season 3. What about Demo? It hit Coinbase market this morning. You know what? A lot of things go crazy when they hit Coinbase. Did it really hit just this morning? Because someone else showed me something else that looked like it hit Coinbase early, but it was around for a while. Yeah, I guess they're up 52%. Coinbase has been adding a lot of like weird small cap projects. Connect your car to the future. Download the demo app. It's interesting. I just saw this project the other day somewhere. So basically, it's like one of those diagnostic apps for your car, but somehow it's crypto related. I don't know if it's stored on the blockchain. It's on Polygon. I don't see any references to crypto on here. Not one. There's not one reference to crypto or a token or NFT or a blockchain. Nothing. You would think this is just like any other project. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's good if you store all this stuff on top of the blockchain, but they're really catering to Web 2 people, not Web 3. I would be cautious to this pump. What do you think about Casper? It's going up. Some people think it's like Ethereum. I've seen Caspers before. It's like a layer 1. I don't know too much about it, so I can't really say. Can Injective do a 15x? I don't know. Injective has been really hot recently, so 15x, no. 10x would be 6.7 billion. I mean, could it go to 10 billion? I don't know. I can't answer that. Maybe. They've been really hot recently, but that doesn't mean that they're going to stay hot forever. What's the faster horse today, BTC or Sheep? BTC for sure. And that's not financial advice. That's just fact. Big super chat. Xenolink, interesting small cap Mimblewimble project. Epic Cash has outperformed market cap competitors Grin and Beam. Any thoughts on Epic and Mimblewimble tech? Mimble, you know, first of all, it's a horrible name. Second of all, Litecoin has been touting that, oh, we're going to integrate Mimblewimble for like years, okay? And first of all, I don't know if they did it. I think they did. And second of all, I don't think it's did anything for Litecoin. And all those other ones, Grin and Beam, they basically, I wouldn't say they're dead, but no one talks about it. Because right now, it's ZK. People are using ZK for scaling and privacy. No one really talks about Mimblewimble anymore, right? So I'm not saying Mimblewimble is bad, but the new technology everyone's looking at is ZK rollups and how to utilize ZK. So yeah, can't say anything about Epic Cash. I found a list of blockchain data platforms on Premium Data. It's incredible. Okay. What do you mean data platforms? Why is it incredible? And I don't know what data platforms. What can apply to be your new spaces segment? Perry, it's on my Twitter. It's pretty, I think I laid it out. Just say I want to apply, right? I'm the project, or I recommend a project, but that project needs to have their DMs open. Otherwise, I can't contact them. Rich, Zen. Never heard of Zen. I don't like all those decimal points. That's way, way too many. The supply is way, way too much. So I'm going to say no. You guys want to rewatch this?
You're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one. Make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Without speaking to anyone.
I know you've repeatedly said you're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in the
asking
middle,
about one.
The public is anticipating a profit based on the...
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private. This should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals...
I'm asking you about the facts and the law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also...
But you have prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is anticipating...
All right, so let me just ask it.
Couldn't answer anything. LCX, it's an exchange. I have no opinions on it. Never used it. Singularity or Fetch, better long-term play. I don't know. I would side with Fetch because it's a L1. I like L1s. Singularity could outperform it, but I'd rather go with the L1. All right, guys. Let's call it a day today. Today's grilling shows that Gary needs to go. Hopefully, this new legislation, removes the abuse of power that Gary has, and we replace that position with someone better, right? In the meantime, you know what? Bitcoin is strong. It's going to get stronger. That's not going to change. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right. Have a good night, guys. And in case you're wondering about the XRP lawsuit with the SEC, I got something to show you.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.